Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia, where we absolutely love making wreaths. In today's video we are doing a beautiful patriotic swag using one of my favorite tools, a 5-gallon stir stick from your local hardware store. I have Simba with me today. He's trying to say hello to everyone. And with that said, let's get started. Let's go over the supplies for the swag wreath, starting with this absolutely stunning sign. It is metal. It already has little holes on the top and the bottom. It's 8 inches in diameter, and it's going to be a perfect centerpiece for this swag. This is the stunning ribbon that I'm going to be using. It's 1.5 inches in width, and yes, it does have wires going through it, as you can see the stitching right there by the red and the blue. The Deco mesh that I'm going to be using is some red, white, and blue. My main one is going to be this blue one for the base of the wreath. And then I'm going to make some curls with the red and the white, so you can definitely use some leftover for the curled part of this wreath. To decorate our swag, I'm going to be using this gorgeous red, white, and blue bouquet. We're also going to be using some pipe cleaners, a piece of jute cord to hang the wreath, and of course a 5-gallon stir stick. The first thing I always like to do is attach my hanging loop. If you have access to a drill and you can drill a little hole, that's even better. But if not, I just like to use a piece of jute cord, and we're going to go where the narrowest part of our stir stick is. And what I like to do is divide my jute cord into 1/3 on one side, 2/3 on the other side. Make a knot. Make sure your knot is on the side that's going to be the top of your stir stick. I like the side with the ruler. Now I'm going to go in the back, make another knot. I'm going to make a loop. When I make my loop, I'm going to tie my loop with my longer side. And then I'm going to finish off by tying the rest of the jute cord in the front. Just like that, we have a hanging loop. Next, we're going to attach pipe cleaners, and we're going to need 8 of these. We're going to start right in the center. The stir stick is 21 inches, and since we have a ruler, it's easy to see where the halfway mark is, which is at 10.5 inches. And at 10.5 inches, I'm going to do a double, meaning 2 pipe cleaners. So what I'm going to do is my first one, I'm going to lay at 10.5 inches. And I'm going to basically make sure that I tie it on one side. And then I'm going to grab another one, and we're going to pull it to the other side right next to our first one and tie it on the edge of the other side, just like this. Next, we're going to do 2 doubles on both sides at 2.5 inches from one side, 2.5 inches on the other side, and we're going to go right underneath where we attach our hanging loop. Just like our first one, we're going to pull it to one side and then a double on the other side. Now that we have our doubles done, I have 2 more pipe cleaners, and they're going to go right in the middle of both of these sections. On top, it's going to be at 14.5 inches. Basically, we're going to have a 4-inch distance between our pipe cleaners. And then this one, I'm going to point up on this side at 6.5 inches. To make sure my pipe cleaners stay in place, I do like to hot glue them a little bit. The 3 in the center, I'm just hot gluing straight to my stir stick. It is plain wood. It's going to hold really nicely. But the ones at the top and especially the bottom, I'm going to grab 2 felt pieces. I'm just going to unite all of that, the felt piece on top. The one at the bottom, I feel like is the most important one because I feel like it holds the entire swag in place. To cut my Deco mesh today, I am using my tempered glass sheet. And yes, this is actually the first time on my channel I'm doing this. And I'm using a little wood burning tool. My craft room doors are locked because most of you know I do have pets and I want to make sure that they are safe. When it comes to the cruffles, you can make them anywhere from 20 to 26 inches, 24 inches. I'm going to be keeping mine at 24 inches. When cutting, I do like to make sure I go in between 2 rows and then you just go down. You are going to need 8 pieces at 24 inches. Next, I'm going to be using the eyelash Deco mesh, and this is the reason that we're using the heating tool, because that is the best way to cut this type of mesh, especially for things like curls. Alrighty, curls, I like to do about 10 to 12 inches. I'm going to need 8 of these, and with this type of mesh, I do like to make sure that I go in between 2 rows all the way from the top to the bottom, and if it goes a little bit crooked, that's fine. At the end of the day, you're going to have a nice curl. Now I have my white Deco mesh, and with this one, same thing. It's going to be a curl, so anywhere 10 to 12 inches, and go between 2 of the little strips. I'm going to grab my beautiful ribbon, and we're going to cut 12-inch strips, and I'm going to need 16 of these. We're going to make little ribbon bundles. When I have my 16 pieces, I'm going to fold the ribbon in half and cut a little triangle, making my dovetails at the same time, just like this. And of course, I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Everything is cut up, and I'm going to start by making cruffles. I'm going to grab a little clamp to help us, and I'm going to start attaching them to every single one of our pipe cleaners. My Deco mesh is rolling away from the table so that we can start making our little curls. And I'm going to do 2 to 3 little curls, about 1 inch in diameter. Clamp it, and then go to the other side. Same thing here. Make 2 or 3 little curls, and then bring our Deco mesh together. When we have the center of our Deco mesh, we're going to attach. At this point, you can attach either everything to every one of the pipe cleaners, or we can go one by one. So I'm going to do one by one by making the cruffles first, then attaching the curls, and then attaching the ribbon bundles. All the cruffles are on, and I know you're thinking, Nadia, we can still see the stir stick. Well, we're going to take care of that by adding our curls. I'm going to grab a red one, and we're going about inch and a half in diameter, curling it, and we're going to clamp it. I like using a big clamp when I'm doing this. Next, I'm going to grab my white one, and we're going to crisscross these and attach to the cruffles, just like this, right in the center to twist so it's nice and secure. And I'm just going to repeat the same thing, adding the red and the white curls to all of the pipe cleaners. All my cruffles and now curls are on. I'm loving the contrast with the red, white, and blue. And now we're going to get going with our ribbon. And all we're doing is grabbing 2 pieces of ribbon. We're going to find the center by folding it in half and just pinching it. And I like to crisscross it a little bit, gather it in the center, and attach it to a pipe cleaner. At this point, I know I'm not going to be adding anything else to the pipe cleaner. Twist it up a little bit, cut at about 1 inch, fold, and then just hide that little tail. And oh my goodness, more of that red, white, and blue. And this ribbon is just so stunning. Grabbing the next 2, and I'm going to continue doing this until I have attached these little beautiful ribbon bundles to all the pipe cleaners. Since in the center we are going to have a sign, all of the little ribbon tails on the sides in the center, I'm going to face out. The ribbon is now on, and we have a nice balance of red, white, and blue, but it's time to kick things up a notch and bring in the sign. I'm going to grab some floral wire, and I just made two 18-inch little pieces that I'm going to fold in half. And I'm going to do 2 twists in the back. And this one, I like to keep kind of tight. When the floral wire is in place, I'm going to move things around just a little bit. Make sure you look where your top is at this point, because there have been times, I have to admit, where I attached it and had to flip it. Alrighty. I'm basically going in the center with my sign, so I'm just attaching it to the left and right of the center double. Now that we have the sign attached, I'm going to go in for the flowers. To remove the florals from the stems, always go in the grooves and just go back and forth until you can just remove it. No need to use wire cutters or anything for that. And the groove where I decided to fold is about 4 inches from the flower itself. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an extra step of giving a little bit of hot glue, because I noticed that these peonies are not attached as good as I would like them to be. So I'm just giving a little bit of hot glue between the petal and the rose, basically so it's nice and secure. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go right underneath where my leaf is, and I'm going to do a little bit of almost like a 90-degree angle so that the florals will go nicely on our wreath form. And I'm going to do that to all of the flowers. When it comes to attaching flowers, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to grab the one that is the smallest, because I do have wording around my sign, and I'm going to go to the ribbon bundle right by the sign, put the rose behind there. That way the rose covers the center, and I can move it to make sure that the wording is showing. Next, I'm going to put in the blue one, just because it's a nice big one. It's going to fill a lot of things here. And the red one is going to go on the outside because of the blue Deco mesh, to break that up a little bit. When I know where all my florals are going, I'm grabbing some hot glue, and I'm going to attach my florals. And just like that, my friends, we have a beautiful patriotic swag. I'm going to move a few things around here and there, but basically this is what it looks like. Are we purring? Give me 5. Yay! Well, what did you guys think of the swag? There's just so much red, white, and blue in it. Overall, it was so much fun to make this swag. With that being said, thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you all in our next video. Bye, everyone. That's right.